Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like, maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow, and perhaps even check out our Patreon. And welcome to the first episode of the Ruston Diaries, as we start and document our process on trying to restore this absolute hunk of scrap.
These are the remains of Ruston 48 number 393303. Built in 1956, this machine sat long forgotten in a scrapyard for 39 years. Rotting, neglected, and alone. That is, until a man with a serious problem arrived. With a desire to save this old wreck to stand with his other icon of a lost industrial age, Ruston 48 number 294266. This truly is an enormous task, but luckily he has some friends to help him along his way. So join us as we delve into the world of restoration, maintaining and running a collection of full-size diesel locomotives. What horrors will they find in their quest, and what will it do to the owner, whose life would be so simple if it wasn't for the Locomotive Diaries?
So this series is going to look at the restoration of this one and the overhaul of 294266, restoring that into an operational condition and then maintaining and running a fleet of locomotives. So enjoy and welcome to the Ruston Diaries.
However, before any of this could actually take place, and in truth before this could actually happen, or even before this, I had to do this. And that was signing the agreement between me and the railway to say that the Ruston could come and live here.
Handshake somewhere? Yeah, it's happening.
And with that piece of paper signed, that meant that this could happen, and then this could happen, and then this could happen, which now meant that we could actually get stuck in and get involved. I'm going to be doing a video in the future talking about the relationship between a locomotive owner and the railway, but that's a video for another time. For now, it's time to get stuck in.
Helping me today is Tom and Charles, and we're going to make a start on trying to tidy this up and generally diffuse the situation at the railway with them going, what on earth have you done? So by the end of the day, hopefully we'll got some paint on this and it will look a bit smarter.
As you can imagine, with something that's been sat in a scrapyard for the last 39 years, everything was seized and stuck. So I set about to try and fix that.
To my understanding, everything will be free in the morning. Right? That's what WD-40 does?
As I continued with my optimistic attempt to try and get some of the movie bits to actually move again, it gave us the opportunity to get to grips with the scale of this project. Obviously, the thing is looking very tired, having spent the last 39 years in a scrapyard. And having finished attempting to oil things up, it was time to get serious and put on some PPE and get to work. But before I did, I took one last lingering look, because
it will never look like this again.
And while I lamented this fact, Tom was getting stuck in.
So of course I've come along to help. The first job I've been lumbered with is to remove all of the water out of this gear selector, which was probably at least halfway up. There's probably a pint and a half that I've managed to remove, all with blue roll, squeezing it out. And now I've got to somehow figure out a way of removing the tons of old mixtures of rust, water, oil and everything else from in there, so that's going to be fun.
Restoring locomotives is glamorous.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I've been given power tools.
I think we've decided that the side of this was black. So this is the same colour scheme as 294266 is currently in. It was green and presumably black. I don't think that's undercoat, I think the sides were black. Restoring things is like archaeology. We're discovering the past.
And we had made quite the discovery. Just visible on the frames was L8, and this ties in with some photos that I'd been sent of the locomotive. Here on the frames, when the engine was under overhaul, you can see L8, and here again, when it was back together again, clearly it's L8, including a light patch on the frames, which you can still see here. This is a Wellingborough Wagon Works L8, which presumably means Locomotive 8.
Good. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally usable. There's no real rust on that at all. I want to point out that this isn't my spanner. I borrowed this from the railway, but it is a hammer. Teacup, be fun.
Having distracted myself from getting on with the wire brushing long enough, I decided it was now time to tell Tom that in order to drain the water from the gear selector, there was a plate that he could just take off to let all the water out.
Is that going to come off?
Yeah, I can actually undo them with my fingers now.
Do you know, when we were taking this apart to try and get the wheels out to move it, I was amazed how many of the bits just undid and came off. Like, so much of it just came apart. I've got a good feeling about her. She's going to be good. She's going to be all right. But she's really happy now. She must have been terrified for the last 40 years sat in the scrapyard. Any day the man with the gas axe would come near. And then the man with the gas axe did come near and start cutting her up, you know, as we were getting away. But, you know, and now she's here, being abused by wire brushes and a man with a... What on earth are you doing?
Then when it eventually came off, it was clear that this thing had been sat with water in it for a very long time.
I don't think this should be in there.
Is it nice?
It's glorious. Oh God. Point out how wrong this looks from here. Oh wow.
So sum total of progress, I've seen 2 foot of locomotive. Charles has done a foot and you've managed to open a panel.
Continuing with our highly productive morning, I then looked at my phone.
Ooh! Guess what? Heritage Railway want to do a story on it. On actually crowdfunding it, getting it and saving it. That's awesome!
That's impressive.
That is cool. That's genuinely cool.
And after that excitement, it was back to work. It had become apparent that there was a lot of loose rust across the frames, and I elected for the fast way to remove it.
Oh, that hurt. This is why we wear the safety equipment.
I can confirm it doesn't taste very nice either.
No.
Thanks for that.
However, it's cleaned up lovely. Those bolts are going to have to be cut out. I don't even know what they do.
What's this over?
I'm just going to cut that off. That's. Cut it down. I'm fixing it.
And having disassembled the loco more, it was back to the wire brushing.
So what we have is some wasting along here where the rust has eaten itself. Side frame's quite good, some wasting there, but honestly it's not enough to worry about because it's still plenty thick. Technical term that, it's inside my shirt. Oh, that's really nice and cooling. This is the hottest day of the year so far. Back to it.
Meanwhile, Tom had started to flush out the gear selector.
I think I know why it's not moving.
Just maybe a little bit.
That's running clear now. Another 4 or 5 of them, you're probably right.
Yeah, just another 3 miles of walking for water. It's getting there, most of it's coming out.
I left him to it and continued with my wire brushing, and after several bucketfuls, the water coming out of the gear selector was looking significantly less full of rust.
Oh, I'm getting wet.
And Tom moved on to trying to remove some of the debris at the bottom with the screwdriver. It was about now that I got bored of wire brushing and attempted to oil things up again.
If I keep spraying them, eventually the injectors will come off.
You're expecting them to literally just pop off when you're not looking.
Yeah?
Come on, Charles, have faith.
apparently you can't hold it by the lid.
Whilst I was doing this, I had another poke at the antifreeze, and it's still inside the engine, which means there's a good chance the block is not cracked.
Oh, it's sealed.
Frank,
Sheesh. I was like, what have you set
What
on
have you
fire?
done?
How is this on fire?
Have you set water on fire?
I hate you both. That was a genuine fear for a second. Genuine fear and all. Ow. You know what? It's genuinely exciting to be working on something that you know every time you finish with it, they get a different change chances. Like, it'll never be like this again. Every moment where it's getting better, it's looking better, even though I've chopped bits off it.
To avoid doing any more wire brushing, I decided to go back to the bit of metal that I hacked off and try and make it a little bit less sharp and deadly.
Charles, I apologise, I've just sprayed that all over the handle for your steam cleaner.
making it better one piece at a time. What I've done here, very cleverly, is I've removed part of it so it's no longer a hazard.
Meanwhile, Tom had found that removing the plate doesn't actually drain all of the water from the gear selector, so he was back to manually draining it, putting him exactly back where he was first thing at the start of the day, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, he was utterly thrilled about.
So, now that's clean, Laurie's wise idea is to pour diesel in it and hope for the best, to see if it will free it. So, I'm just going to do what I've been told. So we're going to try that. And I've missed with a lot of it. I missed again. Right now, according to his wisdom, give that 30 seconds, engine will be running, we'll be down there somewhere, so happy days.
It turned out that the original gasket hadn't enjoyed being removed and now refused to make a seal, so we had a slight dribble on that. And then I took the opportunity to try and rally the troops and try and motivate them.
So what I'd like to try and achieve by the end of the day is I'd like to have this side clean and painted, I'd like to have that clean and full of diesel, and I'd like to get all the greenery out from inside it. We can do that in a day?
Where's your team? Where's the rest of them?
It's you.
Me?
Yeah, Charles is filming, so it's just you.
Right, okay.
I admire your optimism. Thanks for the support. I feel like we're a team together, you and I.
Obviously, feeling motivated by my talk, Tom started to unbolt the top of the gearbox because the filler wouldn't undo to allow us to fill the whole thing with diesel to hopefully get it to free off.
Coming out pretty clean, actually. And we'll see what the state of this is, if there's any oil in it.
There is rust in there, but actually it looks pretty oily. There's rust across that, except across there. That's not terrible, it's shiny, 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 but that's worrying across the rust there.
With the worrying signs of some rust inside the gearbox, the next task was to drain the gearbox itself and the final drive, and we figured whilst we were underneath, we might as well get the chain that was still hanging on the pinion off as well.
You take the weight on it. There we are.
Oh, that looks wet. That looks rather wet. Tom, can you stop a second? Oh, oh dear. Oh dear.
That all water?
Yes, and
Sludge.
oh dear. Well, the good news is the final drive did go round. Final drive, yeah.
Was it water or oil?
Water. Very much water. Leave it off, we'll just drain it through. We'll take the top off and brass
You
that
could
is.
leave it open,
Oh yes,
because if anything else do get in, that's got somewhere to go.
That is a
Is that going to be similar? That's the question.
vibrant smell. I can smell there.
Hold on, Tom. That's wet as well. I can see that's wet. This gearbox is. Actually, that's a fair amount.
There's oil.
Yeah, sludge would be the right word.
Question, have you turned this into a barge?
We're going to film. We're going to fill that up with some diesel and let that
Wash it through.
wash it through. And do it for both of them. What we've worked out is that the worst drive, the final drive at the end, which is where your reverser is, was full of water. We do know, however, that that was going round, so that's probably not seized.
Or it's snapped.
Oh, don't say that. Oh no. I mean, that means that forward and reverse is definitely seized. 100% seized. The rest of the gearbox, well, a lot of oil we captured, and there was a lot of water in there as well, which was terrifying. So final drive, gearbox, maybe okay. And so now we're going to use that magic material known as diesel and flush it all out. And then we're going to fill it up with diesel and we're going to leave it. And we'll come back to this in a month. Oh god. That's really not very good. That's unpleasant. How do I feel right now about the future of the project? It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
It's fine. You know a chap.
I know a chap. Where's my phone? I know a chap who can fix Rustons.
He's really happy to fix gearboxes, isn't he?
You know who you are, and at this moment I'll be looking at your phone in worry because there's going to be a voicemail from me soon being like, help.
With nothing to do but worry, I went back to my wire brushing and tasked Tom with separating the engine from the gearbox, because at least then we could work out if it was just the engine that was seized or just the gearbox, or if I was really unlucky, both. And whilst Tom got to work, wire brushing remained slow and tedious as ever.
Right, so what I think's going on here is these two plates, which are obviously joined by a stud and the crown nut. I think they are just a solid connection, but with this sort of these two rubber plates in between. So I think they're probably only there for reduction of vibration and stuff like that. But I think there's some sort of metal shim behind this flat part, and then somehow squidges it together. That's all I can assume.
It's almost there, almost done, almost running. Rolling.
With both of us using power tools, we were now starting to make real progress.
So, well, we won't know until we've destroyed more of it. But it is through, so...
I mean, presumably, they aren't, once we got rid of this, they will be separate from each other.
I assume so, yeah. Once we get rid of that, we can either see if we can undo these or just chop them, see if we can separate them and find out what's going on gearbox-wise.
Oh yeah, that's definitely separate.
There we go.
So if we knock all these off, then we should be able to...
Try and get separated.
So there's nothing in the middle, they're not joined at
No,
all.
that's literally... Get rid of that. Right,
Alright. Yeah, keep doing that, and then we can...
Keep
then
these straight through there.
Then we'll be able to see which one is seized, or if they're both seized, or...
What's going on with what.
Cool. Right
Lovely.
tool for the job is that.
And unable to offer any more helpful advice, I went back to wire brushing.
This bit needs needle gunning. I wonder how moss will survive versus wire brush. Was not expecting. Was not expecting that. However, I've got to be honest, that looks so much better. Just do this little bit, put a little bit more of the cleany, and then we can paint. Oh no, I want to do that. Never mind, ignore me.
So this stuff's just crumbling, whatever it is, the coupling between the engine and the gearbox, so...
It was meant to be rubber.
It was meant to be, but there you go. I don't think that's rubber anymore.
Oh, it's a rubber and metal twin discs. You've got metal in here, which is not metal anymore. And then
Some sort of odd vibration reducing thingy. That's not going to reduce.
shouldn't be able to do this. Shouldn't be able to read. So coming up now on the screen is your offer to be able to buy bits of a Ruston. You've donated to Save It From Scrap. Now own your own piece. Pieces. Charles, do you want to go inside with the wire brush and see what happens?
Not really.
Yep. Right, this is the moment of whatever. Nope. The answer is everything.
Because that did move. Did it? Well, ish. I think it does.
No, there is no movement in that at all. So both the engine and the gearbox are seized, I think. Oh no, I broke one of the switches. No.
Quite literally, making it worse than when we started.
Oh, it turns out they're switches as well. They just lost their button. Yeah, that's Oh, hello. Something moved. I think the gearbox just moved. No! Look, there's movement. Something moved.
There's definitely some form of movement there.
I think the gearbox moved. Which would be...
They are fouling on these studs, I suppose.
I think
The engine is moving but not round.
No, it's the gearbox.
The engine is moving,
but the
and the
gearbox-
gearbox is turning.
The gearbox, right, pull the gearbox up, the gearbox will go.
Feeling overjoyed by the revelation that the gearbox might go round, and with the day coming to an end, I decided it was time to start getting some paint on.
UK paint, it would start. I'm sure it will start.
Haven't touched the engine at all, but don't worry, the paint will fix it.
It's 5 horsepower, isn't it? You just painted on there.
Yeah, it's good for red as well.
We're going to put stripes on it.
Yeah, go faster stripes, certainly. This is going into Intercity Swallow livery.
Is that the livery we're going with?
Yes.
Some of us know different.
No, you don't. Could it go in Anglia livery? No. No. You're no longer a Scrap Ruston. You're a cared and looked after locomotive. Cared for, looked after, and loved. And loved by many, in fact. You're famous.
Ignore the bargain garden centre that's down there.
That adds to the appeal, man. That gives it character, the fact
You've
that...
thrown the garden centre on the floor on the other side.
Yeah, but this side...
That side is still...
This side...
centre.
This is unique. It's giving life. It's not just a locomotive, it's a garden. If you want to buy any weeds, by the way, send in your bidding now. Hashtag save the weeds.
That's weed with an S on the end.
I was pleasantly surprised how well the paint went on and what a difference it made to the overall look of the machine. And as the day was starting to come to an end and the light was fading, a couple of the volunteers at the Whitwell and Reefham Railway decided that they would get involved and give me a hand to get the first coat of paint on the exposed metalwork. It was a great feeling of everybody coming together and putting a bit of effort into the engine to really transform it, because this is the best it has looked since it went into the scrapyard over 39 years ago. And to take part of that and physically do it was nothing short of amazing. And once we'd got the coat of paint on, to be able to stand back and see the change that we'd made was absolutely fantastic, and a wonderful way to round off day one.
So it's the end of the first day working on 303 here at the Whitwell and Reefham Railway. We've managed to make some good progress and get a better understanding of what we're dealing with. Sure, it's not as good as I'd hoped, but he is no way as bad as I'd feared, and this represents a really viable project for coming back into traffic. The gearbox seems to be moving. What's working we don't know, but it's moving. That's a big start. And the engine, we don't know. We'll see what happens if we let it to soak, and maybe the engine will free off. Maybe we'll have to strip it down. Who knows? It's all fun to find out. But the good news is, thanks to you wonderful people, there is a pot of money now to sort this out with. It will run again. If this was just me, I'd now be going, oh no. But because of you wonderful people, there's a chance. And I've bought it a home. This is the first time in at least 40 years that this has actually been undercover. And that, in its little tent, is actually rather sweet. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'm very happy. It's been a good first day.